Hello, welcome to the Nutrition and Lifestyle blog of the LDN Research Trust. I'm Jill Brook, nutritionist, researcher, and autoimmune patient. Let's dive in. Foods that help fight viruses and perhaps SARS-CoV-2. 3 recent articles share some everyday foods that are not only nutritious and anti-inflammatory, but also appear to help our bodies fight viruses, including the SARS-CoV-2 virus. The first article in the journal Nutrients, called Antiviral Functional Foods and Exercise Lifestyle Prevention of Coronavirus, lists the following food groups with antiviral properties: fruits, veggies, dairy or vitamin D, nuts, seeds, olive oil, fermented foods like sauerkraut, herbs, roots, mushrooms, coffee, seafood rich in omega-3 fatty acids, such as cold water fatty fish, chicken, and meat. That's a pretty general list and basically describes most of the unprocessed food groups, with the exceptions being grains and legumes. But perhaps that's the point. Eating real unprocessed foods has yet another health advantage over processed foods. A second article, entitled The Antiviral Anti-Inflammatory Effects of Natural Medicinal Herbs and Mushrooms and SARS-CoV-2 Infection, reported the following foods may help fend off SARS-CoV-2: garlic, ginger, reishi mushroom, chaga mushroom, shiitake mushroom, maitake mushrooms. This list brings an Asian mushroom stir-fry to mind, except for the chaga mushroom, which is typically brewed into tea. A third article, Traditional Foods and Their Constituents' Antiviral and Immune System Modulating Properties, published the results of a literature search for foods shown to have antiviral properties against RNA viruses and coronaviruses in general. They included black cumin seed, garlic, cinnamon, licorice, black pepper, moringa, honey, and mushrooms. Hopefully you are already including some of these foods in your diet. Just normal culinary quantities are recommended, so consider using these lists for inspiration next time you need a meal idea. And if you have some yummy ways to combine some of these foods, please share. Fruits, veggies, and mental health. Academic journals aren't known for being inspiring, but this paragraph made me say, whoa. It does such a beautiful job of summarizing the findings on how fruit and vegetable intake can affect mental health in numerous different ways. Quote, "There is now good evidence that higher fruit and vegetable intake is related to better mental health. Research has established that people who eat more fruits and vegetables have a lower incidence of mental disorders, including lower rates of depression, perceived stress, and negative mood. People who eat more fruits and vegetables also have a higher likelihood of optimal mental states, such as greater happiness, positive mood, life satisfaction, and socio-emotional flourishing, which captures feelings of meaning, purpose, and fulfillment in life. Importantly, these associations between fruit and vegetable intake and various mental health indicators appear to be dose-dependent to various points, whereby higher intake of fruit and vegetables are associated with increasingly higher mental health scores. They are robust when controlling for demographic, economic, social, and health covariates, for example, gender, income, education, BMI, smoking, and exercise. And they're bolstered by longitudinal and interventional research that has shown causal relationships between higher fruit and vegetable intake and mental health. For example, using longitudinal data from over 12,000 people in the Household Income and Labor Dynamics in Australia survey, Mukic and Oswald found that a shift from low to high intake of fruits and vegetables across a period of 2 years resulted in a significant improvement in life satisfaction, showing an average gain comparable to moving from unemployment to employment. Interventions have also shown that increasing fruit and/or vegetable consumption improves depressive symptoms among clinically depressed adults, improves feelings of vigor in young men with low baseline levels of vitamin C and a higher baseline mood disturbance, and increases flourishing in young adults with low baseline consumption of fruits and vegetables. Some research has indicated that positive mood states can also shift people toward healthier food choices, and negative mood states, such as stress, can shift people toward unhealthier food choices than overeating. However, the longitudinal and experimental research designs outlined above provide convincing evidence that fruit and vegetable intake can also have a direct and causal impact on subsequent psychological well-being, unquote. Powerful stuff, right? Few things can give us so many different benefits with so few risks. Unfortunately, many health problems can make it harder to eat fruits and veggies. Everything from getting to the grocery store, to cooking, to chewing, swallowing, digesting, and more can be difficult or even impossible. But this excerpt is a reminder that it's very possibly worth the effort to make these foods feasible when we can. You can see our online post for the source and references. How watching sports affects eating habits and heart health of avid fans. The Olympic Games starts soon, so it's a good time to review some fascinating findings about how being an avid sports fan can influence eating habits and health, for better or for worse. For starters, the outcome of a big game can influence food intake the next day. Researchers followed 2 seasons of Sunday night NFL games and looked at sales of junk food in cities whose teams were playing. They found in losing cities, sales of high saturated fat foods rose 16% the day following a loss compared to average Mondays. In winning cities, junk food sales decreased 9% the next day. The effect was stronger when the game was close, and researchers believe that winning boosts fans' self-control, while losing makes fans eat to feel better. You can read more on our links online at the LDN Research Trust website. If that's not wild enough, get this. Avid fans appear to have higher rates of heart-related deaths after a tough loss. Do you remember the huge upset at Super Bowl 2008? I don't, but my husband does. The New York Giants beat the New England Patriots in the final minute. Want to guess what happened to rates of heart-related deaths in New York and Massachusetts the following week? You probably guessed it. Compared to the same week of the previous year, New York health-related deaths stayed constant, while in Massachusetts, they had a 20% spike. Researchers believe the heartbreaking Super Bowl loss was literally that, heartbreaking. Again, you can read the studies and the links on our online post. But this is one more reason to eat super healthy snacks if you're an avid fan watching your sporting events, because it's literally not for the faint of heart. The power of chewing. Just chewing more can improve your life in several different interesting ways. You probably already know that chewing promotes good digestion, better nutrient absorption, and helps you eat more slowly so that you don't overeat. But research also suggests that chewing more can improve cognitive function. Chewing food or gum has been shown in research to improve memory, decrease reaction times, decrease stress, improve attention, and slow cognitive decline in the elderly. All that from just chewing more. How can so many benefits come from one tiny action? Well, it appears that chewing promotes better circulation to the head, which brings more oxygen and nutrients to the brain. You can read the details in the study links on our website, and in the meantime, happy chewing. Today's question is, why are some people so passionate about avoiding GMO foods? Are you? And first of all, GMO stands for genetically modified organism. So GMO foods are crops that have been genetically modified. And the quick answer is, the reason people are so passionate about avoiding GMO foods is the Roundup weed killer. And yes, I am passionate about avoiding them for myself. But here's the long answer. Many people think the main argument against eating genetically modified foods, GMOs, is a general concern about altering DNA, interfering with nature, or making frankenfoods. But that's not really it. What many people don't realize is that a main use of genetic modification is to make crops that are able to withstand a very strong herbicide called Roundup. These genetic modifications allow farmers to spray large quantities of this super strength herbicide to kill nearly everything but the GMO crop that they want to grow. It makes for efficient farming, and because of this, Roundup has enormous use worldwide. So, what's the problem? There are several concerns with differing levels of scientific evidence and controversy surrounding them, but here are a few of the concerns that resonate most with me. Number 1, quote, safe, unquote, levels of Roundup were determined based on safe levels of its active ingredient, glyphosate. The safety tests did not take into account the rest of the ingredients in Roundup, some of which enhance uptake of glyphosate. In effect, the safety studies were not measuring the true strength of exposure or the true toxicity. Our online article links to a short video from our friends at nutritionfacts.org reviewing the evidence on this. Number 2, glyphosate is a patented antibiotic, so there is concern that it kills beneficial microbes in soil, in our guts, and in our entire microbiomes. According to experts like Dr. Zach Bush, without a diversity of microbes, the soil does not properly regenerate nutrients, is not hospitable to the many organisms, for example worms, that make the ecosystem sustainable, and eventually may throw off the entire food chain. As one example, recent research suggests that glyphosate may be harming bees worldwide by killing their gut microbiomes. Number 3, glyphosate has been shown to break down our gut barriers. Dr. Zach Bush's team has published magnified images of gut barriers breaking down within minutes of exposure to glyphosate. You may recall from previous blog posts that gut barrier function is supremely important to overall health, and especially relevant to inflammation and autoimmunity, because it determines how much of our intestinal contents enter the bloodstream. If the intestinal barrier can't keep out unwanted substances from the bloodstream, then the immune system may go into overdrive. Via this mechanism, researchers have hypothesized that glyphosate causes inflammation and can contribute to a wide range of modern health problems. And again, our article online links to those articles. Number 4, glyphosate has been named a probable human carcinogen by the IARC, which is the International Agency for Research on Cancer, which is the World Health Organization's cancer research arm. Number 5, we are finding glyphosate in alarmingly high levels in rainwater, drinking water, and breast milk. We link to a report by Moms Across America detailing their findings and their concerns, which are many. Number 6, court cases have revealed that Monsanto, the maker of Roundup, has credibly been accused of ghostwriting favorable articles, influencing government regulatory agencies, and so much other bad behavior that it fills entire books. A recent award-winning book by an investigative journalist is called The Monsanto Papers, Deadly Secrets, Corporate Corruption, and One Man's Search for Justice. One reviewer wrote, "Readers will be astounded by the depth of corruption uncovered." So, if you're like me and want to err on the safe side, then buying organic foods is the best way to avoid glyphosate. If that's too expensive, you can avoid the highest glyphosate foods by avoiding GMO corn or soybeans, or animal foods that were raised on GMO corn or soybeans, such as factory-farmed beef. Foods containing oats have also been shown to have higher levels because glyphosate is often sprayed on as a desiccant. This is a highly controversial subject, and some people feel that foods, companies, and chemicals should be assumed innocent until proven guilty. And I agree with that for people, but certainly not for chemicals that I'm going to put in my body, especially when it's already struggling with autoimmunity. So that's why I indeed am passionate about avoiding GMO foods.